think we're good. Okay, now I've got everything where it needs to be. I was having a moment. So, excuse my puppies in the background. They want to come down to the office and paint with me. And I've put my pencil down. Where is my pencil? Oakley doke. So, get another pencil. Where's my other pencil? There it is. That'll do, just nicely. And, oops, bring myself up on my screen so I can see it. Like that. And that. Okay. So, here we try again. Oop, as I hit the camera with my head. Okie doke. So these guys, this one's facing away from us. So I'll draw him a bit like that. And then his bum comes this way. Alright. So his bottom's a bit higher. So I'll do his bottom a little bit higher. And I can adjust this as I go. That's all nice and easy. Do his back legs like that. I might zoom him in a little bit closer for you guys. Zoom him in a little bit closer. Why is my camera like that? Hang on just a second, guys. I'm just going to adjust my camera a tiny little bit. Make it so it's a bit more up like that. And then I can zoom it a little bit more. Like that. Whoops, there we go. There we go. Now it's a little bit better. A little bit closer for you all. Sorry, a bit of the rough and tumble for a second. Dropping my camera all over the place. Having some teething because I haven't streamed on YouTube in well over a year. So I'm very rusty, but I felt like it today. So here we are. So I start by drawing the outline. This zebra has quite a big belly. And I've drawn lots of horses over the years, so I've got quite comfortable with their proportions, even though zebras, you know, they're related. So he's got they've some very similar body shapes. Very similar body shapes. So, and he's got his hocks sort of come around there. His tail comes down here. So I'm going to go around this in micron pen as well. That's the plan, anywho. Go around it in micron. But I'll just get his shape in first. So his hocks and knees are at the same height, front and back. Alrighty. So his legs are the same length, head, shoulders, shoulders to ankle. So I measure every part against another part to get the proportions. That really helps. So yeah, you can go head to shoulder, shoulder to ankle. And the same with the bottom. Bottom, so the length of the bottom is the length of the leg. So his bottom's, because he's sort of behind, he's bottom to us, so his bottom's like he's closer this way. So his back legs will be a little bit closer. And then you can't really see all of his eye. So I'm just gonna come around there. You can only see the angle of his eye and a part of his cheek. So I can start drawing I'll start drawing his stripes on in a second. Actually, no, I'll start drawing them now. Let's start drawing them now. Why not? Let's do it. Let's go rogue. Start drawing his little eyes on. His little eyes on. His little stripes. Oh my God, I'm having a moment. I'll learn to English at some point. I'm having an I'm not Englishing moment. There we go. Actually, you see what I've done there? He's got actually his chin under there is a bit broader because his stripes go down and around. And then he's got stripes up here that come sort of around a little bit. Around there. All right, and then around here. So I'm just basically roughing in all the lines. I will be going over these with pen, with micron pen. I'd use a dip pen. I do that sometimes, but the ink, I haven't got waterproof ink at the moment. I've got to get waterproof ink because if I want to add watercolour, it needs to be waterproof. And I love mixing it. I love mixing up my media, having watercolour and ink. So, oops. Oh, that's my doggo at the window now. I'm keeping him out of the office because he tends to want to sit on my lap when I'm creating. So, yes. Oh my goodness. I apologise for that, guys. If you can hear the old bear outside. That's my Jack Russell bear saying, I want to come in, I want to be in the art room with you. I'm like, no, not today. So I'll just draw these stripes on. And they sort of follow the shape of his leg around. I've got to actually take that one a bit further forward and erase. Make it a bit, oh God, me lead fell out. That's a problem. Where did I put the other one? Not to worry. That's all right. We'll just go around here. I put my orange pencil down and it's got the eraser in it because I've managed to misplace my, what do you call it? My kneadable eraser that I love. I've put it in a container and I put it away and now I can't find it because that's special, because that's how I roll. That is how I rock and roll. Down and around here, and then go this way. Oop. Get onto the bottom, onto the bot. And then, so he sort of, this stripe comes around his bottom, and then into his flank, and then down onto his belly. Like that. So around his body, up onto his flank, like that. And around. Oops. So this is fun to share my drawing process with you guys because I do a lot of just, I do a lot of time lapses. I haven't done a lot of full-blown tutorials for a long time, so I thought I'll do once a week over here now. I stream on Twitch 4 days a week, sometimes more, but I will be streaming over here 1 day a week, probably Sundays from this point on, I would think. I've just got to find my eraser. Where did my eraser go? What did I do with it? Just any eraser would do. I put it away. Oh, there it is, found it. Found it. It's way over there. And I'll pick up that charcoal that fell on the floor. As you do. Righto. Back to it. So, there's that one facing that way. Then there's a little zebra facing this way. So, whoops. Get onto this. Do his face comes down here. Oops, like that. And then they've got rounder ears than horses. These horses have quite, well, most horses have quite pointy ears. I suppose different breeds have different shaped ears, but these guys have sort of roundish ears. So I round them off a little. And then you can't really see his eyes, sort of actually a bit lower than that, about there, like that. And I sort of measure everything against the head. So take that down there, maybe erase a little bit there, because I've got him all a bit wonky. We don't need him to be all a bit wonky. And I'll do his shoulders coming this way. And his butt up in the air, because he's going off into the distance, like that. Around here. All right. So his mane, you can't see his mane, he's got his chest. He's got long grass in front of him, this one. So his head, his chest and his legs are the same length. Head, chest, legs. So I'll put his legs about here. So he's literally, that's how you get the proportions on them. I measure each part of their body against the next part, and that's how I get their proportions. And the rest I sort of do by eye. Oops. Okie doke. And his legs come into the back, like that. And they're in grass, so I can't see the bottoms of their legs, but that's fine. I can ad-lib that. I can make that up as I go, sort of, because I know how they look. His other hock is there. Oops, that's my dog barking again. All right, so that's that one. Okay. Just bear with me a second, guys. Sorry, I've just got to look at the reference. I'm trying to get a perspective of where the oops. All right. That's it. Okie doke. So I'm going to pop this around here, because I think I've done his neck a little bit short, but we'll see. I can adjust that anyway. So the stripes, because he's facing us, this one, his stripes come down the front. Like that, all the way down the front. Like that. He's got a brown muzzle, so you can barely see. You can see a little bit, but not a lot. Like that. And these guys, zebras are fun to draw, because they really have, The stripes help make them, like it makes them easier to draw. So even if you're not 100% confident with the shape, you can, they're a good one to practice, because they sort of the stripes help you a lot with how they look and what they're meant to be. And so even if their shape's a little bit off, they still look like a zebra, which is always a good one. That's why I think they're a good animal to practice. Okay, so he's got a line that comes there, and it just follows they follow the shape of their bodies. Here's the trick. Just follow the shape of the bodies. Then come around and up and around like that. Then go up like that. Around here. Just tidy up some of these excess lines that I've got on. And just again following the shape of their body. So he's got lines that come down off his bottom like that, and then go around there. All right. Oops. Right, perfect. I'm happy with that. Am I going to give him grass? Decisions. I'm actually going to finish the stripes on the back of this little guy. I probably will. I possibly will do grass. But I don't know. We'll see. I'll draw his little detail-y bits. Down his legs. I will do that, because yes, they're in grass in the reference photo. When I use Unsplash, which is a royalty-free photo reference site. I also take a lot of my own photos, going to zoos and things, so which makes life a lot easier. So yeah, but there's an amazing royalty-free reference site which is called unsplash.com, and you have access to tons of photos that people take and are quite happy for you to use and share. So yeah, I use that quite a lot for my when I don't have photos for what I want to draw that day. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to go over in ink. So I'm going to grab my 003 micron pen, if I can find it, because I always put things down and never find them again, because that's how we roll here. So, okay, so now I'm going to go in and start just going around, because I'm happy with the drawing. I'm quite happy, actually. This pen's sort of getting a bit low on ink, I think. But these are waterproof, so I can use my watercolour with them, and it doesn't cause any problems whatsoever. And they've got their cheek. Actually, I'm going to go with 005. I'm trying to find it. Where is it? Here, 005. Oh, there's another 003. There's me 5. That'll do. We'll use that one. We'll go a slight bit thicker. There we go. Get these stripes in, because he's sort of facing away from us. How's the stripes go under his eyes? He has got a little stripe under his eye. Oops. Down and around like that. And he has some that come from underneath, like that. All right. Around there, do his little eary bits in. Alright, so I can rough up the edges. Hey, Sid! Oh no, she can't hear me. That's my daughter going past. Doesn't matter. My goodness. Oh, the dogs are gone bananas. That's because my daughters walk past the window and they're like, come and play with me. Play with me. Hey, April. April's my other daughter. Just going to get her to double check for me the sound because I can't hear myself. I want to just make sure the sounds okay. Okay, doll. Oops. And their stripies are a little bit. Can I get you to do me a favour and pop onto my YouTube and see how it sounds from, I'm doing a YouTube stream. I haven't done one in over a year, so I thought it'd be interesting to see how it sounds. If it sounds okay, hopefully it does. We're about to find out. All right. The only hard part about zebras is when you actually get to the colouring part, you lose track of where the inside of the stripes and the outsides of the stripes are. It can be a little bit difficult sometimes, keeping track of where the stripes go, what direction they're meant to go in. So come around the edges of the legs. Oops. Down the back of the leg like that. Awesome. And then come down on the shoulder, over the back, like that. And then down onto his belly. Oops.
It's only a little bit of ragged, other than that, it's all good.
Sounds okay though?
Yep.
Awesome. Alright, so then I come down onto the tum. Like that. I'm just working my way around all of the stripes. It's time consuming, but actually I find this part really, really, really relaxing. This part is very relaxing, I have to say. Oops. It's like I love doing patterns. Patterns are very calming. It's like reading a book. Meditation, you disappear into them sort of. You zone out and just relax into it. Okay, I'm going to do his tail. His tail's sort of here. Before I forget, and his swishy bit on the bottom. There we go. Oops, I've got to do his outside bit. His rump. Add a couple of extra stripy bits. Then come up and around his leg like that. Oakley doke. Then come down onto his back legs and get those lines in. There's a little bit of, you can see the inside of his back leg there. And they've got an unusual sort of shape on their hocks, which is their knee joint. Just continue around, come down the legs a little bit, back around. Whoops, got to do his belly. Don't forget the belly. Down onto that leg on the other side of the zebra. And you can see a little bit of the stripe at the front, so I'll do that little bit of stripe, the front. Right. And there's a ton of colours in these guys. There is a ton of colours in these guys. I'm going to erase all of the outlines on that one now. So I'm just going to take the lid off the eraser. Is always a good way to start. So literally just take the pencil lines away. Then I'll do the other zebra, and then we can get into the watercolour. And these are quite simple. Quite simple to watercolour. I use lots of browns and greys that I mix myself. And I'm using Schminky today because I love me Schminkies. Love me Schminkies. All right. Come down onto his ear here. Like that. And then I can refine the shape on his face because I drew the basic shape in, but I hadn't refined his details yet. So I'm refining his details. And there was quite a bit of distance between his eye and his ear. So I've left, that looks why he's got quite a bit of a gap there. And I'm just going to take these stripes following the direction of his face. Like that. And he's got furry in his ears. I can draw the furries in. My dogs want to come in so bad. But they're staying outside because then they want to sit on my lap as well. And it's very hard to art and paint and draw with 2 Jack Russells sitting on your lap. Alright, so this shoulder is actually quite narrow. So I'm just going to draw that down to the front leg following the lines that I've already drawn. Like that. His little chest, he's got this little chest bit there. And that little triangle there is when they're born, that's where their front legs join together. Their front legs cross and are joined together to make it easier when they're born for the mum. So, and that's what that is called a chestnut on horses. And it keeps their front legs together when they're being born. And all horses have it. I don't know about cattle, I'd have to have a look. I haven't checked cattle, but I know horses, all horses have it. I would assume cattle do. I think any 4-legged animal would probably have it, but any, well, large animal. It comes out at a reasonable size. So now I'm just going to draw these stripes on the legs. Alrighty. Alright, I'm going to come down and around here. Around onto his tum. And right around the outside. And get that back end shape in. His legs sort of curl under and come together at the back. Like that. Oakley doke. Oops-a-days. I'm just having another look at the reference photos. Just going to quickly type into my thing, hang on. Okie doke. Come down and around here. Oops. stripe in here. Come down and around his belly. And then, another quick zoom in on the reference, just bear with me. Oops, you can hear my poor doggos. I'm going to get another reference photo up because I want to see, actually I'll draw the grass in, I can do the grass. And I'm trying to think also how I'm going to continue on with the background. Am I going to do, I might do a blue sky background, probably, I think. We'll do that. We'll do a blue sky background. Oh my goodness, my puppies. My puppies are being silly buggies. Down and around. Okay, I think that's pretty cool. All right, so now I'm going to erase this. Erase this. Get rid of the stripes off me little zebras. Like that. And I can draw this grass in. So I'm just trying to decide how I'm going to approach the sky. If I'm going to do a sky or am I going to keep it really simple? I'm undecided. Completely undecided. Because grass doesn't have to look like exact. I just, you know, the focus of this is the zebras. So that's the plan. We're going to focus on the detail in the zebra. They're the piece, they're the important bit of this one. Right, so I reckon we can just about start on the watercolour. So I'm going to bring the watercolour a bit closer. And I'm going to grab my brushes. And I'm using my silver black velvets today. Whoops, a daisy. And I'm just going to mess everything up. And I am opening my paint palette using my schminkies. And we are going to start. So I'm going to wet my brush, grab a bit of cloth. Always have a bit of cloth handy. Always have a bit of cloth handy. And I'm going to wet my brush. Oops. And grab, oh, I need to spray my watercolours. So I'm going to spray my watercolours with my little handy dandy water bottle. Keep them wet. And we're going to start. So I'm going to mix up burnt umber, cobalt blue. And I'm going to do a very thin wash. Burnt umber, cobalt blue to make a browny grey for the first layer on the zebras. And then I'm going to go in with a very thin layer everywhere that's going to be dark. Use the tip and brush. So I've got a very watery mixture for the first layer. I will do lots of layers. There'll be 3 or 4 layers on each stripe. So I start with a fine layer. Not the end of the world if I don't stay in the lines. In the stripy bits, that is. Where's my photo gone? Oh my god, I need my photo. I need my reference photo. Come back, reference photo. Where are you? There you are. Okay, we're good. And they've got a line around the outside of their ear. Organised chaos is my world. So now I'm literally going to go around all the stripes and get that first layer of colour on. And then I'm going to add also some red browns and all kinds of things. Whoop, I've got to keep track of which lines are which. And the white of the paper is the white of the zebra. So with watercolour, that's how you do that. You try and preserve your white on your paper. I need to be cleaner strokes. I've got to try and make it clean sweeps with my brush. Clean sweeps with the brush. Like that. Clean sweeps. Alright. So burnt umber, cobalt blue, make a dark grey. So I should have mixed up a little bit more, but that's okay because I can make it up, dilute it right down again, and we all good. Like that. And then I go onto the back. And I take that down in a clean sweep down his stripy bit. Same on this. You can see it's a little bit browner. I've added a little bit less blue. Probably need to add a little bit more blue. And I love these brushes. This is my silver black velvets, and I've got them in a multitude of... Actually, I am going to add a little bit more blue to that because it needs to be a bit darker. That's a bit better. You can see how adding that little bit of paint, that little bit of blue, just made that darker grey. So yeah, I make all my own greys and darks. I don't own a black. But yeah, burnt umber cobalt blue is a great mixture. It's a good easy one to use. And you can just test it on a piece of paper to see what tone you're happy with. I've used it so often that I sort of know now what my favourite mixture is. But yeah, it's fun you can mix it up in varying levels of blue, varying levels of brown to create all different greys. And then you add water in varying amounts. And that again alters it slightly. So the less water, the stronger the colour. So I've got it quite thin for now. I'll keep it quite thin for the very first layers, just to get the shape where I want it and everything where I want it. And I can if you go light to start with, you can build up. Hello! Hello, how are you? How have you been, mate? You can't stay? No, that's okay, doll. This was a spontaneous thing. Have an awesome day, night, whatever it is. Great to see you, bud. It's a bit rough and haphazard today. Because it's been so long that I forgot how to do everything. So I have no thumbnail yet. That'll happen. Consistency is key. Come around here. Down there. Okay, I've got to draw the stripes. I forgot to draw the stripes on his tail because I'm a silly person. So I'm going to draw the stripes on his tail right now. I'm going to find my pen. Where's my pen? That'll do. Will it do? No, it won't. That will do. No, it won't. Oh my God, where's my 005? That one. That'll do. So I'll just draw his stripes on his tail really quickly. Oops, he's actually got a stripe down there as well. And you can only just see the edges of the stripes coming onto his tail like that. And then the bottom of his tail's quite dark. That's okay. That's okay, it's okay. So we're going to go, whoops, a daisy, that's indigo. We don't want indigo. We want cobalt blue. Burnt umber, I've got to mix up some more. Those are the two colours that I go through the most doing wildlife art, because I specialise in the wildlife art. So browns and blues are the colours I use most for my mixing. And transparent sienna. Love transparent sienna. Gorgeous colour. Use that for a lot in wildlife. A lot. A lot. So just continue on. Come around here. I'll draw one on his knee. I've got one on his knee. We'll pop one there. That's better. And come around. Oops. So that's one zebra. Actually, I'll do his eye. And he's dry. He's pretty well dry. Because I've done it so thin, he's pretty well immediately dry. Start on the other zebra. You probably technically should work left to right, and then you don't have your hand in your painting. Yeah. I need to practice what I preach, because I didn't do that. So I'll do that next time. I need to, yeah, work left to right if you're right-handed. Yeah, which I didn't do. I just thought of that and went, oh, oops, I did that backwards. But not to worry. Not to worry. So I'll just continue on. Oh, and I've got to do his muzzle brown or grey. I'll add some browns to that over the top when it dries, because you can see it dries quite pale. But the more layers you do, the better it'll be. And the darker it'll be. But we don't want it solid. You want it sort of mixed browns and darks, and you want variation, because otherwise it'll look flat. And the last thing you want is a flat looking painting. So we try and keep some variation in there. Whoops, missed a bit, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And for the lights, so the white of the paper is the white of the zebra. And also we're going to add blues and browns for reflections. Because on white, there's still shadow. And I use purples a lot for my shadow colours. Purples and purple greys. Deep dark purples for shadows. So come down and around there, onto here. Okay, fill these stripes in down here. And you just work your way around both the zebras, and I'll do the grass as well when I finish these guys. You can see how watery and diluted I've got that paint, because it'll take a few layers. Because then it's easy. You can put more paint on, but you can't take paint off. That's what I think. So start light and build your way up. Gonna add some more blue. Oops, it's a bit thick. I need to see that. You can see that's thicker, that's darker. So I need to add more water to get that paler layer. That's better. Come down onto his back, onto his rump, like that. And then work my way around these stripes on his butt. Until, then I've got the first layer. Then I'll darken up, because they're darker at the bottom, because that's where they're in shadow. So the stripes will be darker on their undersides, and they'll have shadow on their underside. So I'll use some purple. The white of the paper will be the brightest whites. All right, so that's fine. I'm happy with that for a start. That's not a bad start. So then I've got to take these stripes up to here a little bit. I'm going to go slightly stronger mixture. Actually, I'll do the green first. I'll do the grass. So I'm going to go a little bit of green, and I'm going to add a little bit of brown to it. I'm going to brown off the grass, because in Africa the grass is browny green. So I'll start with a light mix. Oh god, I've got too much brown on there. So I'll go a browny green, a little bit of green, a little bit more green. There we go. Wet that down a fraction, and then sort of go over where I've put the grass. I've drawn it in. I didn't erase it, silly me, but that doesn't matter. And I'll do a few different tones of greeny brown on the grass, just by adding varying green bits. Green, I'll add more green to it, less green to it, just to add all different. You see that? So one's browny green, one's richer green. And that's literally the same paints, just slightly different mixtures, less brown, more green, all that, to create that. And it's darker at the bottom because the top of it's sunburnt, because it's been, so the top of your grass is always lighter than the bottom because the bottom's been protected from the sun. And we'll just give it a bit of a, more of a fluff up underneath, make it a bit thicker at the bottom. Maybe a little bit thicker. Like that. I need to make it a bit deeper. I've decided I need to make the grass a bit deeper, so I'm going to go back into my first mixture and just do that. Just make it a bit thicker at the bottom. You can sort of make things up as you go along. I do tend to do that. I tend to add things in, take things away. When I'm drawing, I take things away. When I'm painting, I add things in. Where I think, it needs a bit more of this, a bit more of that. You can sort of go with it a little bit. Add a bit of brown. So I've got my green again, a bit more brown. Then take some stronger marks. Just to sort of unify that, all those colours together a bit. And just create some, not everywhere, just sort of going in different directions too, so they're not uniform. You don't want uniform sort of shapes because grass isn't uniform unless it's been mowed in perfect stripes. That's a bit wiggly wobbly and all over the shop. Because I had to make it a bit longer because their feet would be down here. I can't see them, but yeah, their feet would be down a fraction lower. So I'm going to leave that. I'm happy with that. I might add some light brown towards the end. So I'm going to clean my brush. Make sure my brush is a little bit clean. And then I'm going to go back onto these zippers with some stronger grey. So I'm going to use the same mixture or the same colours. So burnt umber, cobalt blue, just less water. Less water, so it's a stronger pigment. So it looks stronger, it looks darker. And then, because they're darker, the tops of his mane is actually quite dark. And I'm just using the same brush for this. I'm using, what am I using, as an 8. It's quite, it comes to quite a fine point. You can do all of the bits with that. So I can use the side of the brush if I want to go thicker. I can use the point for the intricate bits. So the 8 is a really handy sort of a size brush. So then I'm going to darken up in his mouth and the underside of his stripes. And anywhere it's a little bit darker, I'll add this darker mixture. And it will dry back fractionally lighter. And I'll also add some browns as I get into it a bit. But this is layer number 2. I reckon there'll be, and I can always drag it up a bit. I need another bit of cloth. I can always drag the paint that I've just put down, freshly put down. I can clean my brush, wet it, and I can drag that up like that to extend it. If I think I haven't got it in enough other places, I can move the paint a little bit. So then same, just follow it along the bottom of the zebras. Anywhere that's the darkest part, I should probably do the bottom of his chin. And the bottom of that stripe and the bottom of that stripe. And it starts to give them a 3-dimensional look. Because half the craft in drawing is being able to make them look 3-dimensional. The art in drawing, the craft in drawing, the skill is to make things look 3-dimensional. And that's all about your shadows. Shadows are magic. Shadows are wonderful. And they really help to bring a piece to life. And stop it from looking just like a flat drawing. You want to make round things look round. So you just observe. So you look where the sun hits things will be lighter. So the back will be lighter and softer coloured. And underneath sees less sun, so it will get gradually darker. Like underneath their bellies will be shaded. I will do a purple shadow under there eventually when I get towards the end of the picture. I'll do a purple shadow under there. My dog's now scratching on the window saying, let me in. I will in a minute, Bear Bear. You can come in after my stream. So I come down there. Rightio. So yeah, so I will be doing this once a week, guys. I'm going to probably do Saturday my time in Australia, which I think is on Northern Hemisphere is Fridays. So I'll be doing your time Friday evenings, unless you're in Australia, in which case I'll be doing Saturday mornings. That's going to be the plan from now on. And I'll do one live stream a week. I'll still do my normal videos, my normal time lapses. But I'll add, yeah, adding a stream a week just for a bit of fun. So yeah, so just going darker. I've got to mix some more up. So again, burnt umber, cobalt blue with less water. So it's a stronger pigment, stronger colour for the darker. So it's literally exactly the same as the first layer, just slightly thicker. Take that around there too. Onto there. Oakley doke. I need some more burnt umber, cobalt blue. Like that. Bit more burnt umber, bit more cobalt blue, bit more blue. I might mix up quite a bit of a bigger batch this time. Bit of a bigger batch. I'm going to come down and darken up some of these. I do have Payne's Grey. I don't use it a whole lot. I probably use it when I need something almost pure black, even though it's a purpley sort of a black. The Schminky Payne's Grey is a beautiful colour. It does have a fair bit of purple in it, which makes it nice. Oh, I did it again. I did that whole working from right to left thing. Oops. I need to work from left to right if I'm right-handed. Shh, don't tell anyone. It's our secret, people. It's our little secret. Alright. So take these stripes right round and under there. I apologise for my puppy in the background. He really desperately wants to get into the art ring. Okay. But if he does that, he will be sitting on my lap and I'll end up with white fur on my zebras. Because he's got his head and neck blocking the sun, sort of. So I had added a little bit of colour on the top. So then come around here. Oh my goodness, Bebe. That's my dog. He's trying to get in here any way he can. Because when I'm doing art, he's sitting on my feet or sitting on my lap. Usually on my feet while I do everything. Or in his doggy bed. But he was playing with his, I'm babysitting my daughter's dog. So, and she tends to bounce around everywhere. So I have to keep them all out rather than have some in and some out. I have them all outside or outside my room. Still in the house, just not in my room. Alright, so I've got I always have a bit of cloth in my hand so I can clean my brush. Alright, Burnt umber cobalt blue again. Come down onto his muzzle. To his eyeball. Right. And he's also got, I didn't do his stripes on this side, so I'll draw them in now. Like that. And his pupil on that eye. Right. So now I'm going to get a little bit of my transparent sienna and start to add some warmth to the zebras. So transparent sienna is a beautiful colour and very, very useful. It's a reddy brown, a soft reddy brown. So I'm going to add that in, and I can dilute it down even more than that. And add, oops, I need to dilute that even more. That's way too thick. And it'll dry back a slightly paler, but it'll just give a little bit of warmth to them. So I'll add that under here, down on his chest. I'll leave the tops of the backs white. Take that down and around like that. The inside of that leg is almost completely in shadow. I'll add purple over the top of this as well. But I've got to add a little bit of this warmth, because it also helps to add the three-dimensionalness or three-dimensionality, however you say it. You know what I mean? Add it to the bottom of his face. To the inside of that ear. Right. Down the inside of that leg. And the inside of that leg. Right. I've just got to soften up. I'm going to grab my brush and just soften up this bit here. So I clean my brush, wet it, and then drag that paint around a little bit more so it doesn't have a hard line, because I don't want hard lines. So then I'm going to go back in onto this zebra. So I did it the right way around that time, left to right. Do under his chin, do inside his ear, round under his neck, down towards his chest, under the leg. Anywhere that's going to be in shadow, I'm adding this warm brown to begin. I will add purples to the deepest, darkest shadow areas, but the first layer helps to give them their, and pretty much the whole of the inside of the underneath of that leg. And the same on this, or I can leave the outside of that one. And the underneath of this one I've got to do. So literally, I can go over the top of everything I've painted already, quite comfortably. I've got to go underneath the tail with that brown. All right, I might go in there a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to go back in. I'm going to mix up an even stronger grey. And I might use a little bit of indigo this time, so burnt umber and a little bit of indigo. Try and make it even stronger grey. Start on the left and on the back of the zebra, and you can see that's even darker, and really darken up parts of the stripes. Not completely, I don't want them solid. I don't want them a solid black, solid dark, because it's not really a black, this is a brown grey. I've used ultramarine. No, I haven't. I used, what did I use? I used indigo and burnt umber to mix this dark, dark grey. And I'm using some schminky. The two paints I use, oh, look at that, I've got my hand, put my hand in it. That was smart. So I'm going to clean my brush. Make sure I get a clean brush, wet it, and then I can go over that and lift it off. Or I put my hand in it because I was silly and lift it. So just wet your brush, even though it'll probably stain a little bit, doesn't matter, it's not the end of the world. It's a sketch. So do that and then dab it with your clean bit of cloth and it'll lift some of it off. I will do a background eventually anyway, so if you just sort of gently scrub where I put my hand in it, it'll lift. So that's fine. Hello, Wayne. How you going, mate? How are ya? I put my hand in it again. Sorry, there's a little bit of, oops, and I did it again. There's a little bit of a delay. Thanks, Dale. Yeah, it's been a long while since I've streamed over here. But, been asleep, just woke up. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh my goodness, Wayne. Goodness gracious me. You need to go back to sleep, mate. Whoops. But thank you so much for popping in. Been asleep. Oh, I read that bit. Like this. Oh. I'm the same though. Whoops, a days. I should let that dry. This one's dry. I'm gonna go back onto this one because that one's still a little bit damp. And do the darker areas. How come you're streaming on YouTube anyway? Oh, I just decided I'm going to do 4 days a week on Twitch and 1 day on YouTube because I've been maintaining my YouTube channel, and I just thought I need to. You're allowed to, as long as you don't stream on the same day, or you don't stream the same thing. You can't multi-stream is what I'm trying to say. So you're allowed to stream if you're not a partner on YouTube and Twitch, providing you don't multi-stream. So yeah, I just wanted, just for fun, and mix it up a bit, keep things fresh. Oh, I've got to go indigo and burnt umber. Whoops, it is. Yeah, I know that. I've just posted 4 new videos this week. Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, I've been doing lots and lots of time lapses. When I first started, I started streaming on YouTube. When I very first started. And I haven't done it in over a year, so I thought I need to get back into it. Because I've got friends over here as well, so be nice to hang out with them as well. Whoops. So what are you up to for the weekend? What have you got happening? Because it's now, what time is it now? It's 11 o'clock in the morning here on Sunday. We've actually got quite a nice day. So I'm just building up the layers on these guys, getting so they're lighter at the top, darker underneath. And just build up the layers, build them up, buttercup. And you can see they're starting to look a little bit more three-dimensional. I've got to figure out, I've got to do a bit more on the heads, but I'll do that after. Still working on my zebra on the right. I need to not jump around. I tend to jump around to all different doodahs. I jump backwards and forwards and all over the place. So I need to stay on my right-hand zebra. Oops. Same YouTube's first 8 years ago. Well, to find out what I've been doing, there is a new box opening. You'll have to watch that. Hey? A new box? Oh, box opening. I'm sorry, I'm having a moment. I was like, what does that mean? But now I know what that means. I know what that is. Cool. It's got to darken up. So, okay, so I'm I've done most of the right zebra. Now I'm going to start on my left zebra. And I'm going to mix up. So going back in with my, I've gone completely blank, indigo blue and burnt umber. Indigo blue. Add a bit more indigo blue to get almost black. And then come down onto his chest. Down and around here. Sort of joint, you can see the stripe goes onto his mouth because this one's going to be darker. I will do a background, so I've made a bit of a smudgy there, but I can tidy that up later. Not the end of the world. And then come into under here. Getting darker towards the chest. I've got to add the purple shadows, the deeper, darker purple shadows. Because this guy is sort of more in shade. I'm still trying to think what kind of background I'm going to do, whether I'm going to do just a plain blue sky. I probably will. I was undecided whether I was going to do any kind of background. We shall see, we shall see. We shall. Oops. Come down onto his legs. Around there. Oops. I was just looking for the host button. No! Yeah, it's very different. It's very different. Very, very different over here. They don't have hosts, don't have emotes. It's been over a year. So I need to look into what there is over here because it's been so long since I've live streamed. I do my time lapses. And I've done them forever and ever and ever. So that you can see that one, he's dry and he's dried back quite pale. So you can see it's going to take quite a few layers. He's actually darker on this left side of his face. So I add the darkest down the left side of his face, darker stripes. And I've actually got to add a couple more stripes there. And like I said, you can add and take away things as you go. Which I do have a tendency of doing. I start with a base picture and then I change things, alternate. Got to go down the tip of his mane like that. Got to fluff up his tail a bit more. Rightio. Next, what am I doing next? I'm going to make up a purpley colour for the shadows. So I'm going to go bit of cobalt blue, bit of cad red, cobalt blue and a bit of cad red. We'll see how that works. Yep, that'll do. So I make up a deep sort of purpley colour. I think most people should draw, especially youngsters. I think they don't because it doesn't look real. So they take us, yeah, it's just practice. It's just doing it and doing it and doing it. And just keep practicing. And it just takes practice and time and being patient and making mistakes. You know, I've got a lifetime of mistakes under my belt. Lifetime of mistakes under my belt. That is so true. And never give up. Never give up. Keep going, even when it doesn't work. Take it as an experience. And, you know, watch lots of tutorials and ask lots of questions. You know, I'm happy to answer questions if anyone's got questions. But yeah, and just doing it. It's a great way to express your feelings as well. Oh my gosh, this is my meditation. Painting and drawing is my meditation. It's my happy place. If I'm having a bad day, I pick up a paintbrush, I pick up a pen, and I calm down. It totally is so good for your soul. Drawing and painting is good for the soul. even when it doesn't go to plan, it still makes you feel better. Like, it's just, yeah, there's something about it that's magical. That leg is almost completely dark, so I'm actually going to dark that right up. I couldn't imagine life without drawing. You know, I don't ever remember a time where I didn't draw. I could not imagine life without it. Sloth, hello! I'm finishing dinner, but am I good? Stop by and smile. Say hi. How are you going? How are you going with the fundraiser? How's it going? Because Sloth's been helping out on Twitch and being a mod. Have an awesome one, Sloth. It's great to see you, doll. I hope you had a great day. Okay, well, it's been lovely chatting. It's late here. I'm going back to bed. Good luck with the project. Thank you, Wayne. Have a good night, mate. Thank you for popping in. 'Tis always so lovely to see you, bud. Give your cat a hug for me. Give your kitty cat a hug. And I'll probably see you on Twitch, mate. Okay, so I'm going cobalt blue, cad red. Cobalt blue, cad red. Mixing up some more. Fundraiser good. Last time it said 1,200 of 2,500 Canadian. Excellent. Good job. Good job. That's brilliant news, Sloth. Very goodly indeedly. I've got to do a background because I've messed up there. Right there. I've made a smudge. So I need to tidy that up. And I can do that by putting a background. So I'm going to add shadow. He's got shadow. This side of the face is nearly all shadowed. Under his eye. Sort of coming down there. I can darken up in his ears. Better get going before Mum starts here. Yes, off you go, Dale. Have an awesome one. Lots of love and hugs. Oops, my puppies are going bananas. All right, so take that all the way around there. Hello, Bad Habit. How you going? Brian from North Carolina saying hello. Hello. It is awesome to have you here, Dale. Welcome, welcome. Oh no, what colour am I using? Blue and red. I stuck me paint in all the wrong doodahs. I stuck me brush in the wrong spot. That's okay. I go red, cad red, and cobalt blue. I'm not a good multitasker. I'll text you on Discord. Cool bananas. Cool bananas, kiddo. Alright, blue, cad red. Where's my cad red? There it is. That's not cad red. Oh my god. I just stuck me brush in the, what was it? Geranium. That's not going to work. And geranium's just a little bit too vibrant for the old zebras, for the shadow colours. There we go. Now I'm going to add a little bit more blue. A little bit, maybe a little bit indigo to help darken that. There we go. Now I've got a good purpley grey. I'm going to go onto the belly of this right hand side zebra and add the shadows in on the bottom of the leg. Whoops. A bit more water. Take that down the inside. Anywhere that's in shadow, I'm going to add that purpley grey. Go under here. Drag that up a little bit. Now I'm going to go onto the inside, completely onto the inside of this leg. Whoops, I need to make it a bit more diluted. Bit more diluted. Whoops. Oops, a daisy. And take it down the whole inside of that leg. And then down the whole inside of this leg. Anywhere that's completely in shadow. That's completely in shadow. I'm not happy with this little zebra's face. I've got to figure out how on earth I'm going to fix that. Oops. All right. And then under here, oh, actually I've got to darken this. I put a layer of shadow on there, but I'm going to darken it up again because it does dry back quite pale. So I want that one to be a little bit darker. And then that one, a little bit darker, just inside there, and on the front of the leg. Down the front of that leg, because that's in shadow. All right. I might do the background in. I think they need a sky. So I'm going to clean my brush. And I'm going to wet the background. I might start in the middle actually. Start in here. Staying away, a little bit away. I've got to get a clean bit of cloth. And take away that beady bit at the bottom. So I'm just going to work around gently. And wet that area. And I'll drop some blue in. I'm just going to drop some plain cobalt blue. Just very watered down. Very, very watered down. And then I'm going to drop that in. And take that around where I've put all that water. And I can drag it in close to the zebras. Being careful not to get it over the white areas. I don't want it on the whites on the zebras. So take that around there. Like that. Okay. And I'm going to work my way around, being careful. Trying not to get it into the whites on the zebras. And not too much onto the previous blue. Where I've put it down because that'll end up with cauliflowering. So you've got to, I'm sort of going to mop that up a little bit. But you can mop it up with a, well, if you wash your brush, clean it, and wring it out so there's no moisture in it, you can pick up any excess water. So that's another way to do that. So I'm just going to work my way around. Now I've got bigger areas, I can wet the page a bit more. And I haven't taped or anything, I didn't worry about that. I just thought this is a fun little sketch. Fun little watercolour sketch just to show you how I go about my process, because everything I do is in time lapse. So I thought it'd be nice for you guys here on YouTube to see how I actually, what my process is properly, and talk you through it step by step by step. By step by step. By step. By step. Then by step. Okay, so then I go down here and I'm literally just wetting all the paper. Anywhere I'm going to have that blue colour, I wet the paper. And I drop that in. And I move pretty quick because you've got to get it on while the paper's still wet. Otherwise it'll end up with hard lines. And you don't want hard lines if you can help it. You really don't. So, you keep your paper reasonably wet. So this is called wet in wet. So it's watered down pigment onto wet paper. And then you don't get your hard lines. And if you do it quick enough, you shouldn't get cauliflowers. Like that. And I can see the sheen on the paper. The paper's got a little bit of a shine to it, which means it's still wet enough to drop the paint on. I've got to get a bit more blue. But you've got to be careful to keep an eye on how wet your paper is, because when you get to dry, it'll do all kinds of craziness. Alright, take that down and around. Like that. Go around the top. Right. And I'll let that sort of sit for a second. Then go back around this zebra and wet the paper. So I clean my brush, And just about butt up that watery bit. I don't do it all at once because I'm not fast enough. If I do all the whole piece of paper, half of it will be dry by the time I get there. So I'm better off doing it in steps like this. And I can add a glaze over the top of anywhere that I've had little misses. So when a glaze is when it's dry, you do a very diluted mixture of the same colour over the top of the whole thing. And it doesn't really matter if it dries as much then, because you've got the underlayer which will carry any breaks, any gaps. All right, take that right round. Oops. Mix up some more blue. So that's just cobalt blue, plain old cobalt blue. I can mop up a little bit of that. So suck the moisture out of your brush. You can pick up the bead at the bottom if you don't want it there. And I don't want it there, so I'll just pick that up. Oops. And then I'm going to go, popped a bit of water in between his front legs. And that I can tidy up, go in closer to the zebras as I want to. So I've got a bit of moisture there that I don't want. So I'm going to go around. And I can do another layer of sky around them. I'll let that dry a little bit. I will let that dry a little bit. I am going to add some more darks onto the zebras. So I've got stuff, paint that I've pre-mixed. Got to be a bit careful here, but I don't rest anywhere that's wet. So, ooh, see, I've got a little bit on the sky there. That's fine. So stay away from that top edge. And I can start to add shadows back in, more deeper darkers. I might even mix a darker grey, very purpley dark grey, brown and indigo, very, very dark, very thick, very dark, and add that into the deepest, darkest areas. I can rest my finger on the dry spots to help me balance my brush. Oops. And come down here. Around there. So that's indigo, very deep dark mixture of indigo, and actually that needs to be darker underneath because the darkest spots are in there. Alrighty. And go into the insides of the legs. And I've got to go onto the muzzle, down here, right on the nose, the tip of the nose, the underneath of his face. He's actually got quite dark. I left a bit of white there, but I shouldn't have. Didn't need it. Come into here. And I'm going to do a little bit of dark into the... I can start to get into the details now. I'm starting to get to the fine detail bit. Oh, Mr. Stripe. Mr. Stripe. Don't want to do that. Right, that side of him's dry, so now I can add stripes onto his mane. You can just see a little bit You just got to be careful that that is dry. If it's not dry, your paint will run. Your dark paint will mix into your sky colour, and you don't want that. So you just touch it and feel if you can moisture it. Well, I can rest my hand on it. I can feel there's a tiny little bit of moisture in it, but not enough that the paint's going to travel. So it's fine. Absolutely fine. Darken up the back of the ears. Oops. Got to get a clean bit of cloth. Clean bit of cloth. Got a little bit there that I need to. Must have had a little bit of touch on my hand. Darken up down here. And start to get the darkest darks on. Oops. So again, that's indigo, burnt umber to make the darkest dark greys. Oops. Just going to mix up a bit more of that. Got to get under this leg. And I didn't do the stripes on the front, did I? That was a silly duffer thing to do. Silly duffer. Darken up these bits at the back. Get really dark into that shadow area there on the back of the leg. And I can even really darken up under his belly. Because that's all dry now, pretty much. So I'm going to do the deepest darks. I'm going to darken up on that ear a little bit. Base, oh, missed a stripe a bit. There we go, just join those stripes in a little bit. Rightio. And then darken up all of these underneathy bits. You can see the blue in that, but that's fine, I don't mind that at all. Start to get the darkest darks in. So on that side, that's completely in shadow, that's completely in shadow, and that's completely in shadow. And then on this one, that's completely in shadow, so I can do that dark. And that's completely in shadow, the front of that, whoops, the front of that leg, doesn't matter. I can turn that into a bit of chest, and no one will know. But it's just a sketch, so it doesn't matter, it's just a bit of fun and a bit of a practice. All right. Hey, bug.
How are you going with your stream so far?
Oh, I'm good, doll.
I'm just working on a little dog jacket.
That's okay. That's my daughter April. You can't see it because there's no camera.
This is what it looks like so far. I folded it 4 times.
Oh, looks great, bug.
I'm just going to check it on there at the moment.
Okay. My daughter loves to sew, And she's making doggy jackets because it's our winter, so she's making our doggies all jackets. She's a very handy little doobie. A very handy little doobie. Alright. I'll get these stripes under here a bit darker. Actually, I might just take that line, because she's got a little inside the back leg there. A little bit darker. And down inside that leg. Like that. So I'm having a quick look, and I don't mind using a bit of pen either. Don't have a problem with mixing my media, so I do pen and watercolour, and sometimes I'll add a little bit of pen if I think it needs it. I'm going to go around these zebras again. I'm going to wet them, re-wet, and add some stronger blue. So I'm just going to re-wet that bit between them, go in with a bit more cobalt, slightly stronger. And drag that around in the wet part. Keep it moving while it's still damp. Oops. Oh, not damp enough. Doesn't matter. Can't do anything about it now. Just keep it moving. Keep it moving. Like that. There we go. That's a bit better. A bit better down there. So take that around there. Take it down onto the grass. And quickly wet up here. So I'm doing it the same way. I'm working in sections to try and get the paint, because I can't wet the whole thing because I'd never get the paint on the paper in time. So then I'll wet all of this. Whoops, doesn't matter. That might cauliflower because that's a bit wetter than it should be. And just touch it with my bit of cloth. But I'm just strengthening up this sky with a bit stronger blue. So I'm literally re-wetting over the top of everywhere that I've added that blue before. I'm re-wetting it. And this is a watercolour paper. This is Fontaine watercolour paper that I'm testing out. I usually use Arches, but I'm trying this because I like the books. I like the storability. If I don't want to frame something, I can just leave it in the book. But if I want to pull it out, it's easy because it's on a binder. I don't have to cut my paper up and do any of that stuff because I tend to work in this size a lot of the time. I don't work too large. So now I'm going to drag that around. Drop a bit of blue in. Just work it backwards and forwards until I get it where I want it. Go between the front legs, wet it, then drop my blue in, and drag it round like that. I've got a bead on the bottom, so I just want to dry my brush, pick up the bead. So you just take all the moisture out of your brush and your brush will absorb up that excess paint. Alright. Now, I'm going to go around the left-hand side, re-wet all of that side of the zebra. Zebras. Take it right round, baby, right round, round, round. Look at that. All the way, all the way. And then drop me glue in, cobalt blue. The trick is don't have your brush wetter than your paper, so you put pretty much, wet is the same amount of water on your brush as in your water on your paper. Because if your paper starts to dry and you have a wetter brush, you'll end up with cauliflowers. It's just a matter of practicing. Practice, practice, practice until you get used to the water and consistency of water and paint. And where you can get away with stuff like there, I added, it's probably a little bit too wet. See how it ran there, it didn't run anywhere else. So I might end up with a little bit of a honeycomb there. cauliflower honeycomb. No, it doesn't work. Cauliflower. It looks like cauliflower when it spreads out and does its thing. It can look a bit like cauliflower. So then I'm going to get my brush wet between his front legs and then pop a bit more pigment in, darken that up. Take it down to the grass like that, and I'm going to also add a little bit of brown on the grass. And I'm going to go between his back legs. Oh, I got that. Didn't add the water, did I? Oops. And then I'm going to drag that down. Drag it down like that. Pick up the clean my brush. Take the excess water out of it. And pick up the bead at the bottom. Because that, when you get the water runs down the page, I've got it on a slight tilt. So the water runs down the page and beads at the bottom. And you can just pick that up by taking the moisture out of your brush. I apologise, there's a little bit of a delay, I think, between my phone and my videos. But anyway, that's how it is, I'm afraid. So I'm going to add a little bit of yellow ochre into this grass. You need a little bit of yellow ochre because it's African grass, and African grass has browns through it. It's a bit like Australian grass. It's not as green as the rest of the world. So I'm just going with a bit of pure yellow ochre in the gaps. There. Like that. Clean my brush. Have a quick look at the big screen, looking all right. I've got a big screen next to me where I can see the piece, so I can see it from a distance, because it's always good if you can stand up and walk away from your work. It helps to give you perspective. But I reckon we're just about done as far as sketches go. I'm quite happy with that, so I reckon I'm going to sign it. And I'm going to call the end of this video. So thank you everyone who's been here. It was awesome doing this. I will be here doing live streams once a week now, from now on YouTube. I will do Friday afternoon your time. I think it's Friday afternoon your time. Whatever time this is, but Friday. And I will see you then. Have an awesome day, and thank you so much for hanging out. I don't know how to turn off my stream.